This is The Extra Point, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast, sponsored by your Phoenix Suns.
All right, let's talk some Phoenix Suns with an old friend of the show. By our last check, this is his 437th appearance on the Extra Point podcast. The great Espo from PHNX, talking everything Suns. We had some news we can use today and had to discuss. Espo, first of all, how are you? Second of all, is Bronny James going to be a Phoenix Sun?
First of all, I forgot what basketball's like because it's been so long. I'm stuck in my home now. That's how bad it's been. But no, look, will Bronny James be a Sun? I don't know. Do you feel like taking a lottery ticket on LeBron James might be a Sun? I feel like at 22, if there's not some talent that you think will change your fortunes for the better, or a trade that won't dramatically make this team better, why not take a flyer on Bronny James on the off chance that LeBron wants to make it a big four here in Phoenix? And that's not to slight Bronny James. I think there's definitely talent there. He didn't live up to all the hype at USC, but I definitely think there's a guy that'll be a rotational player in the NBA. But I think really what you're doing is taking that lottery ticket if you select him as high as 22.
Yeah, Shams Charania, the original report, and it's definitely a talker. Would LeBron James come to Phoenix? So you're saying big four. I was thinking in my head that it would still be a big three, and one of the current members of the big three would have to go. And in my mind and some other people I've talked to, we're thinking maybe a Durant for LeBron James straight up swap. This is all speculation, of course. Could you see that happening and then LeBron coming here and playing with his son?
Oh, I think it might be more simple than that, Mark. Vet minimum. How does that sound?
Wow.
LeBron James, for a fraction of the cost you ever imagined that you get him for. Look, when you look at what LeBron's made in his career, he's got the lifelong deal with Nike. $50 million in 1 year is one great business deal for LeBron James. The guy is a billionaire. If he really wants to try to win another title while also getting to play with his son, I think you're looking at him attempting to do something that is going to piss off a lot of people in terms of, looking and highly considering opting out of his contract in LA and signing for a vet minimum. Now, will it happen? I don't know, but I think there's one of two places that LeBron James will be next year, in LA or here in Phoenix. And I don't think it's that insane to say it might happen on a vet minimum.
So is Bronny James, in your opinion, an NBA player?
At the moment, no. In the near future, yes. And I think he has to go to the right situation with the right kind of players around him to help guide him to become a good player with a system that's willing to give him some time. If the Suns didn't have the newly announced Valley Suns in the G League, I might question it a little bit more. But even if he's a first-round pick, he can spend time down there learning a system, ingratiating himself to it, and playing minutes where he wouldn't, as a end of the rotation, end of the bench guy with the NBA team. So I think he will be there. I think eventually he will be a very good a role player that can play great defense for you. He's not there right now, and I think that's a lot of the hesitation about taking him for teams.
So what could you see a scenario? So LeBron signs on the vet minimum. Let's just back this up and put the whole thing together here. The Suns draft Bronny James because there's reports that there will be a workout. They will hold a workout. They'll, like anybody else at 22, you draft Bronny James. Bronny plays for the Valley Suns, and could there be a scenario where Bronny gets called up every once in a while to play with his old man?
Yeah, I think for sure. I don't think he'd spend the entire season down there, and I know there's stipulations on how long a guy can play there, but like Josh Barterstein talked about, the CEO of the Suns at the introductory press conference for the G League team, proximity was a huge deal. Being only 15 minutes from the practice facility for the Suns and Footprint Center is a big deal. So you can send a guy down to get some run and have him back up with the big club at the same time. And the intrigue of playing a father-son, on the same roster is something that so few athletes have had the opportunity to do And LeBron would appreciate how rare that is if he did it. It's like Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. getting that opportunity to play together in Seattle. Those are things that not many guys get to experience, and they'd have a unique opportunity to do it. That's why I think he will legitimately consider it.
So if you had to, say you were downstairs doing the weather forecast, we need to get you in studio, by the way, and have you do some weather. I feel like that's a hidden talent that maybe we haven't uncovered yet. What sort of chances, the forecast here, the Espo forecast, that this could happen, the scenario we're talking about where LeBron James signs with Phoenix and they draft Bronny?
I think that it's easier to do the actual forecast for Phoenix right now, hot and dry, than it is to give you an actual number right now. I don't have any green screen to point to, but I'll say there's a 25% chance that the LeBron Stormfront rolls into Phoenix sometime in late June, early July, and that those clouds are kind of gathering right now.
Where would this rank as far as, okay, when Barkley got here, Nash got here, Shaq got here, Durant got here? I mean, we've got a top five, right? I guess we're looking for I don't know what order they would go in, but that would be your top five, wouldn't it?
I would go Barkley, LeBron, Durant, Nash.
Really? LeBron would be fifth.
When Nash came back, people didn't think that it was that huge of a moment. It was after the fact that you looked back at it. But this would be a moment where people would understand the magnitude of it, but it would also be the point where Phoenix became the most hated NBA city ever. And I don't think you'll ever forget that moment either.
Well, it seems very on brand for Valley Sports. I mean, you go J.J. Watt, you go Zach Greinke, you go Jeremy Roenick coming back with the Coyotes. Remember they brought in George LaRocque to fight for a while, and then they shipped him out of town pretty quick, but the fights were wildly entertaining. I mean, we could keep going here with just the amount of big splashes that have been made here over the years. It seems like that's sort of our brand. So you think big four rather than big three? You think that? And I know James Jones said at that press conference where they introduced Mike Budenholzer that he didn't see the big three going anywhere. But you think that the big three run it back?
Yeah, I think they're here, and if LeBron's going to come here, it won't be via trade. So, yeah, I don't think there's any reason you would move Kevin Durant at this point. He did everything that you've asked. He was an all-NBA second team guy. He was one of the top 10 scorers in the league this year. Sure, it didn't go the way that you wanted, but you at least need to see how it pans out with a new head coach, because we don't know what percentage of all that had to do with Frank Vogel and his message falling on deaf ears in a lot of cases. I don't think that Beal, Booker, or Durant are going anywhere, at least this offseason.
So if you had the big four, is that a team that can make some noise in the West, in your opinion?
Mark, I am out of the prediction business because I have predicted this team to win every year that I've been a fan of it, every year that I've covered it, outside of the 10 years of darkness that we don't refer to anymore. So I'm out on the prediction business, Mark. But if you twisted my arm, yes, I would say that they could.
It seems like Grayson Allen might set like the NBA 3-point record, right? I mean, and are there enough guys that definitely would move the needle for guys that want to play here? I would think.
Well, yeah. I mean, they'd be running the social distancing offense. There wouldn't be a defender within 6 feet of a guy like Grayson Allen because they'd have to focus on the other four guys. So Grayson might hit 75% of his threes this season because he'd be wide open on almost every attempt. So,
do you feel like this franchise needs to do something drastic like that to become a title contender?
No, I don't think so. The drastic moves were made the last 2 years, and getting Kevin Durant, getting Bradley Beal, being willing to fire a head coach for the second year in a row because you didn't trust the guy after 1 year. I think those are the kind of bold moves. If you don't trade, or if you don't get LeBron, if you don't draft Bronny, I think there's other ways that you can still improve the bench enough where you are in, competition for the Western Conference title and an NBA Finals title. Look, your window is small. We said it was probably a 2-year window. Guess what? You're in year 2. Bradley Beal needs to be more of the guy that we saw in Washington. Booker and Durant have to continue to be the guys that we saw this year. You have to get some luck when it comes to the injury front, and you got to hope that Mike Budenholzer can give this team an identity and a culture which it completely lacked last year. Those are the kind of things that need to shift. It's not adding another big piece. It's adding smaller additions and getting the environment correct to win this year.
Well, and with the 22nd pick, it seems like is that draft pick really going to impact a roster like that if it's not Bronny? It just seems like, and I have not done my deep dive into the draft. I'll be calling you about that probably in about 3 weeks. But it just seems like that's not a player that's going to come in here and help them compete for a championship. Am I wrong?
You're not getting a star at 22. At best, you're getting a bench role player that can do a little bit more than some of the vet minimums you had last year. That's why the Bronny thing is intriguing to me, right? Because he could turn into a valuable piece in the future as a young, affordable contract, but it does also open a door to probably the biggest chance you have to have some kind of earth-shattering kind of improvement to the roster. But then you also got to wonder, how much does that fix things or not? But you're not getting a guy that's changing your fortunes at 22, at least not in year 1. The best you can hope for is a guy that can contribute on a regular basis with that 22nd pick. And I think if you're even entertaining trading it, you got to wait until you're on the clock to see what guys on your big board are there, and then make the best decision that you can at that moment to win now, because that pick I don't think is the one that's going to change the course of anything.
Would picture this for me. I guess there probably have to be a point guard next year. You think there's a point guard next year?
Backup, yeah. I don't think you're going to have one in the starting lineup. I think they're going to run the same way they did.
So Bradley Beal brings the ball up the floor. He's got Durant, he's got LeBron, and he's got Booker sitting there and Grayson Allen in the corner, or I guess you'd have Nurk down low. Who's he throw the ball to?
Any of them? I mean, and the offense is going to look completely different than what we saw too. And Coach Budenholzer likes emotion in that offense. A lot of guys moving, trying to get the ball moving around. So I think there's a chance all 5 of those guys touch the ball before they get the best shot possible. And I think that's probably the world you want to live in. When you've got all those guys, get the touches around until you find the best looking shot or the best looking opportunity. It sounds super simple, but it was something that they didn't do effectively this past year. And I want to see that. But if I'm Brad Beal, I don't think you got a wrong answer that you're passing the ball to at that point.
What is the record for, I guess, downloads or viewers for one of your shows at PHNX? And if LeBron and Bronny were to come to town, do you think you could beat it?
Well, Mark, I don't usually divulge this kind of information, but I'll be honest with you. It's 12 million. No, just kidding. We've had over 2,000 people watching live at one point or another for some of those breaking news things. If there's a LeBron one, I think we're pushing 10K live there or more, because the internet is going to break in a very unique way if that happens. I don't think I'd want to be reading the chat on our show that particular day, because the hatred from every other fan base that's going to come in will be pretty toxic, but I think we will have a fairly large audience. Nothing like you get on TV, Mark, when all the eyes of the valley are on you, but we do our humble best.
Well, I appreciate you staying up till 10:35 every night to watch. We need to get you a ratings box, and thank you for building up my ego here. Do we have I guess with this would be right around the draft probably. When do you think the tweet comes out that I need to plan my summer accordingly here, Espo? That's why I call you. So we're looking at week of the draft night. But, draft night, there's no news either. It's like somebody gets drafted by one team, and then a week later it's official. How do you think this is going to go?
Mark, I would take your vacation in the next week and a half, and then lock in for the end of June, beginning of July to be one of the crazier things around the NBA. I don't know that it'll all focus on Phoenix, but I think we're in for some fireworks from those first few days before the draft all the way through the legal tampering period in the beginning of July. And then, we got to pack up and go to Vegas for Summer League right after that, too.
Oh, well, you think Summer League? Could this extend into Summer League, or do you think this will be over by then?
Oh, well, no, we'll be seeing Bronny play for the first time in a Suns uniform in Vegas.
Wow. Okay.
So that's what we'll be doing.
All right, I'm going to go work on budgets to make sure that's a go.
We can share a room in Vegas. Don't you worry.
Okay. Do you have what's your favorite piece of Suns memorabilia that you've had in all time? Because I don't see much behind you right now, but I'm wondering if you're in Studio B because of the 12 million people you've built in your studio.
Yeah, Mark, I'm in a walk-in closet. I can't fit too much of the memorabilia. I have a jersey that was given to me when I left the organization. That Jay Gaspar, the equipment manager, had made. It was a game-worn, one of the black throwback Sunburst uniforms that he put my name and the number of years I worked for the organization. That one I hold near and dear to my heart. I have a ticket stub from the game that Charles Barkley grabbed his 10,000th rebound. I was there. I was 13. I was 3 rows off the court, the best seats I ever had. And then, a decade and a half later, when I was working for the team, Chuck was there. I asked him to sign it. He said, "No problem, man." He signed it for me, and it's in a frame in my office at work. And then the last one, I have a book that they used to recruit Kobe Bryant to the Suns, this leather-bound book back from 2004, the year that they wound up signing Nash. They had a book that they put together. Kobe was photoshopped into the Ring of Honor. He was photoshopped with Amari and Marion. That one is a very rare piece of memorabilia that I have as well.
You don't have the LaMarcus Aldridge banner that was on the building in downtown?
No, I almost got my hands on the Caron Butler fashion show worn jersey, the only Caron Butler.
I interviewed him. I've the only interview with Caron Butler as a Sun, because he never played a game, right? He was here with Bledsoe for a minute.
He got traded like a month after that fashion show. I was so damn close to get my hands on that jersey, and it fell through last minute. And I am so very frustrated that I don't own that piece of Suns memorabilia.
Last question: worst Suns jersey from the dark years. What's your least favorite?
The sleeved orange. I hate any orange jersey, to be quite frank, because it looks like somebody's working at Home Depot. And that's not a slight on Home Depot. I just don't want my professional basketball team to look like they're trying to help me pick out lumber on a Saturday morning. So.
Right. Yeah, it's hunting season. And it's Tennessee orange. Burnt orange. That looks beautiful. So I think we accomplished a lot. I appreciate the perspective, and I'm going to go get in those vacation requests.
Yeah, do it now and do it quick.
Awesome.
This is The Extra Point, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast, sponsored by your Phoenix Suns.